Hey everybody, it's Michelle Walker-Wade coming with another Get Mobilized moment, and today's message is directed to a special group of people, and this is the people, the business people, the employers, the citizens who are and will be affected by the new Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act that President Obama just signed on July 22nd, 2014. And this is replacing the funding source that we have come to know as the Workforce Investment Act, or WIOA, is now replaced with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or for short we'll call it WIOA. WIOA, there we go. And so since he signed it, and it's a much needed change, but it will cause some of the organizations that serve our lowest skilled, low literacy workers and citizens to be much, and the organizations that serve them will have to be much more accountable about the funding than they ever have had to be in before. And not only that, this is the clincher. These funds will now tie together performance with pay. So if students or employees are not performing, or they're not achieving, they're not transitioning from lower skill classes to higher skill classes, from lower skill jobs to higher skill jobs, the funding will begin to diminish, and eventually, and not long either, I think you have like a 2-year turnaround time, but I'm still gathering details on exactly how this is going to work. But organizations will actually end up closing if students and employees are not reaching those performance measures. And the other thing about the new WIOA Act is that it is really forcing in business industry or employers and social services like the Employment Development Department, the one-stops, and all those type of organizations, and then the adult ed educators, the community colleges, the adult schools, those schools who serve low literacy or students who are just learning to speak English, students who didn't graduate when they were in high school, so now they're trying to get their high school diploma after the age 18, or they're trying to get a GED or some other sort of credential so that they can go on. It's the organizations that serve that population of people will now have to report how well they're doing, and in reporting it, it will determine if money is going to come again after that. Now, in California, where I am, there's been much debate. Some schools have closed due to funding cuts. Most schools have decreased the amount of services they were able to give to students and citizens that attended their school. We've had to decrease. You've heard where there used to just be so much summer school on the community college campuses, on the adult school campuses. There's hardly any summer school, and so now we have much fewer dollars to work with. And now that we've got the WIOA Act, I don't believe it's going to add any additional funding. I believe it's going to be about the same amount of WIA or WIA funds that were just received every year. It's going to be about the same, but now what you're going to have to do with them is more. You're going to have to make sure students are achieving and performing documented numbers where you're showing they've gained, they've promoted from one level to the next, and then they've either transitioned into a career or into college. We're going to have to prove this now. So this is major. This is major just because it puts a lot of pressure on these organizations and adult educators. So this is my word to you. Because there is really not going to be much extra money, just more responsibility, more accountability. You're going to have to start now, retooling the thinking process of your staff, of your administrative staff, of your teaching staff, and of your students. Everyone's thinking is going to have to retool, and it's going to have to shift. It's going to have to change, and I want to encourage educators and leaders in adult education to make sure you tell your students that they are empowered to keep the school open. They are empowered to keep these educational opportunities in their communities. It's them who is now empowered to do it. Make sure you tell them they're empowered to do it. And how are they empowered to do it? They're empowered to do it by making sure that when they come to class, they're taking it so seriously and they understand you have to promote to the next level. If you're in English as a second language classes, you have to promote to the next level. You've got to take acquiring this new language so seriously that you have to promote to the next level. You've got to make sure those high school diploma students understand that, you know, this is really something that they need to commit to. Empower the students, because at the bottom line, at the end of the day, the student is the only one who can promote. The student is the only one who can promote. You can attempt to promote them within the school to the next level when they're not ready. You really can't, you can't too much falsify documents, and I wouldn't even get into that, but eventually it will catch up. If I'm promoting you to the next level and now the next level can't perform at the level they need to because the students weren't ready for it, but you're promoting students anyway, it's just gonna be horrible. Just don't do it. But empower students. Make sure students know they are the ones who are empowered to keep the schools open, to keep the schools, the classes and the training available in their community. And the way they do it is by achieving, promoting to the next level, having goals. Make sure they're setting those goals, set them early. Don't wait till they're on the higher end of their language classes. Set goals early so you know who's planning to go on to college and who's planning to go in the workforce, who's already working but needs to upskill. That's the word, look it up. Upskill, because that's the word everyone needs to know. Make sure your students know. We need to upskill so that we can promote from a lower skill job to the next skill up job or a higher paying job. This is where your performance measures are coming from. So you must empower students to understand that keeping schools in their community is their responsibility, it's their choice, and the way that they prove they really want it is by taking advantage of the services to the point where they promote and then they transition on into college or career or upskilled position on their job. All right? Okay, that's all I have for you today. Listen, I want you to prepare to do well. Prepare to do well. And then go out and get mobilized. Oh, one last thing I wanted to say. The WIOA provisions began in academic year 2015, and the performance measures come into effect in the academic year 2016. So you have this academic year, 2014-15 academic year, to retool and transform the thinking of your staff and your students. All right? You go ahead and have a great day. Get mobilized.